guys, so here we are with the Hisense U8G back here. We're getting ready to unbox this bad boy and we're gonna see what happens, but already looking pretty exciting. I really like these clips because they let you just kind of grab and squeeze at the bottom or wherever they are, and then you pull them out. This is something that even on the most luxury, highest end televisions from the competing brands like Sony and Samsung, you don't have anymore. So it's nice to see this nice touch added by Hisense where, again, the competition just isn't delivering this kind of ease of use when you're talking about unboxing a product. Okay guys, so now as you guys can clearly see, we've got the plastic wrapped pretty well. It looks really nice, really good. Nothing I would complain about with the way that it's been packaged and wrapped. I think it's all so far so good, but we're gonna rip the packaging off and see what comes inside. It's so nice and luxurious. I mean, the kind of bezels that this thing has are just absolutely beautiful. I'll try to focus here so you can see it. Look at that. Very nice, just like what we had on the H9F and the H9G. I really dig this from Hisense. You get the Hisense down. It's a big beast of a monster, but I do love this grid pattern, this checkerboard-esque kind of pattern that we saw on the H9G. Very luxurious. So combine that with the trim that we saw, and we're already off to a fantastic start. You guys asked for it, and here it is. I'm gonna try to actually zoom in on this so you guys can see what's going on here. That might actually help us focus a little better. All right, so 4K, 120 Hertz, HDMI 4, HDMI 2. So offering two HDMI 2.1 ports, just like Sony, but it's still really good that we have that, so I have no complaints here. People like Samsung only have one, so Hisense already offering more than the competition and competing very well with brands like Sony. And the other two, HDMI 2 and HDMI 1, are HDMI 2.0. So that is something that is an area of opportunity for sure. Maybe next year you get all 4 ports, but either way, it's good that you have the 4K 120 Hertz port. Nice, big, hefty feet. You can kind of hear that. It's so robust. I absolutely love this. This is a really excellent touch. The same feet that we saw on the H9G. It's still one of my favorite designs. I love the twists in the metal. It's so just luxurious. I mean, just look at that. Try to get it to focus here so you can see it. Just look at that. It's luxurious. It's a really luxurious twist. I absolutely love it. I think it's very, very cool to have twists in your metal and curvature like that. Oh, it's so elegant. And now what I love is that Hisense minimizes the plastic to this Ziploc bag, not a HDMI power cable, or rather a power cable and a bunch of other things, just getting all of these extra pieces. Everything has been limited to this one bag right here. Excellent, excellent touch. Everything that you'll find inside of the packaging, it's pretty much just a remote that has its own plastic bag here, a redesign on that remote, which we'll talk about. You have your audio cables and audio video cables right here, so very nice to see the component cables coming back in, or rather the composite cables coming back in. So that's really good to have that back on a television for legacy device users. Nobody still does that, so it's nice to see Hisense do that. We've got our batteries, and we've got our detachable power cable, and our baggie of screws here. So we've got a pretty decent amount of stuff here, and yeah, that's pretty much what's inside. Already Hisense more green for the environment than what Sony is with their Road to Zero. Just saying. About that redesign on the remote. Just look at how sleek it's looking this year. Absolutely gorgeous to see that they've actually redesigned it to something that's more streamlined, thin, minimal buttons. It's not the most premium remote I've ever held, but it is absolutely nice and it feels good in the hand. Now at first I was thrown off by this little lip at the bottom because it's not exactly the most ergonomic thing I've ever held. I was a little put off by it, did not really know how to take it, but then I realized you can just stand up the remote like so, making it ultra easy for you to do what you've got to do. And I gotta say, I really appreciate that touch. I think that is one of the things that makes Hisense stand out. And I think this year is going to be very competitive because you probably won't find a single budget brand, so to speak, coming up and showing stuff like this off. This is really, really cool. And I gotta say, Hisense is starting to turn a lot of heads, and with a move like this, it is going to do so. Now, some people might think this is maybe a small thing, but to be clear, LG up until this point was the only one with the remote that could stand up like this. This allows you to put it in other places and be more versatile with your living arrangement. For the stand assembly, it is so easy, a caveman can literally do it. So look at this, you just literally line it up with the holes, you take it off, you find your little hole right here, and all you're going to do is just line this up like so and drop it in like that. Then you drop your screw holes in those two holes and do the same thing on the other side. Once you've done all that and you put your 2 feet on, it's very simple from there. But one thing I forgot to mention is that it does have cable management, as you can see right here. So again, not even the Sony with their top-end OLEDs offer the level of cable management that you have here. I mean, I just got the Sony A80J, and it doesn't have anywhere I can route wires. It's a basic thing. Even in the back here, as you can see, there's cable management hooks, exactly what I was talking about, that kind of streamline out from where you would place your power, which would be over here, right? And they just don't have anything like that with Sony. Now then, to plug in your power cable, all you're really gonna do is take your power cable and just put it right here in the side of your television like so. If ever I can line it up, trying to get the camera to focus on both things at once. So it's creating a little bit of tension here. But you put the power cable in, you wiggle it, and you're done. Very easy. As you guys can clearly see, it goes out from the side. You just kind of tuck it into these grooves here, and you can then streamline it down from there into these little hooks right here. And there you go. You've properly cable managed your television. I mean, really, to see this feature on a TV that is not going to cost $2,000, where Sony's top tier $2,000 TVs don't offer this, is really, really nice. Again, just one of those nicer luxury features that Hisense is offering this year. Something that's crazy noteworthy this year is Hisense adding a hands-free voice control option right here. So all you do is you just flick it on if you want it to listen to you, or you turn it off if you don't want it to listen to you. So giving you that control, just like you find on the $3,000 Sony A90J, is incredible, because not even my top expensive tier Sony A80J, one of the top OLEDs you can buy right now for over $2,000, gives you a hands-free voice control feature like this. They arbitrarily force you to upgrade and spend $3,000 before you get features like this, and Hisense offering it at this price point says everything you need to know about the quality at Hisense in 2021 and what they had on the H9G. So this is still one of those really cool things that I like, the ability and user power to decide for yourself who's listening to what and when. So that part right there I do like. Alright guys, so now the TV is on for the very first time. One really cool thing that I noticed is at the bottom of the TV you've got these 4 lights that are on, and I imagine that signifies voice control feature. So we're gonna click our language, which is, or rather our country, or language? I'm pretty sure it's language, so English. And then the country, which is the US. And then it's going to be the Eastern time zone. Then they want you to enter in a zip code. Then it's gonna ask you to pair your Bluetooth remote. I've already done that, so I can skip that part. Then it's gonna ask you to set up your Android phone. I don't need to do that. After you input your Wi-Fi information, it'll ask you to get the most out of your TV by signing in with Google and all that stuff. I'm just going to skip and say no. And it says, please wait. Okay, so it says switch your microphone on. I'm not doing that. I have it turned off. It's gonna ask me to name the TV. I'm just gonna name it Android TV. It's going to ask you to install additional apps. I don't need you to install anything for me. I'll do it manually. Then it's going to say your 4K FFM is powered by Android. Yeah, we know. Google Play apps. Cast to your TV using Google. And then there are Hisense terms of service. And it says your terms of service are governed by blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot there, but it still should be something that should be skippable. So I don't like that even in Hisense's policy, there wasn't really a Google policy, but there's a Hisense policy that you can't get past. I don't like these kinds of forced terms of service. You should, as a consumer, have the ability to say, I do or don't need this, I will or will not do this right now. The inability to skip is just kind of crappy, and again, you guys know how I feel about it. I don't want to rant too much, but I don't like this. This is nasty. This is not a nice thing to do to somebody that just bought a TV. This is the point at any purchase, regardless of brand, where you have to look at this and say, hey, do I still want to buy this product? Because now you can't use it if you don't agree with something. And when you're in the business of selling TVs, you don't want to start off with, hey, you have to agree to all this stuff before we can proceed. Why not put that stuff on the package itself, on the label, before people buy your TV, so they don't walk out of the store with it? Otherwise, you put yourself in a very bad situation. So Sony does this, Hisense does this, and almost everybody running Android or Google TV does this. My message to everybody that does this is simply put, this is a massive area of opportunity for all of you to improve this and stop doing this. This is anti-consumer regardless on how you look at it. Now, that being said, I have no choice for the review to continue forward, but I don't like being forced to agree with something before you're even able to use it. That's, again, not a strong suit. Nobody likes that. Strong-arming people, it really isn't cool. Now, this part you can say yes or no to, and I feel like that's what it should have been like for the last thing. So I'm just gonna click no, just to preserve some sort of consumer dignity here for myself. And then we're going to go to Google Assistant, talk to the screen with Google Assistant off. I say continue because there's only option there. Talking about QR codes. Then we hit OK. Then it says your setup is complete. What we've waited for the longest time. I'm gonna put it in store mode so it runs that demo. Initiate store mode. But yeah, man, that really got me a little annoyed, because that's the one thing that you don't want. You don't want to be strong-armed, man. Like, I don't know what's up with people doing that these days, but it's not cool, you know? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm ultra sensitive, but I just don't like that kind of thing. I'm gonna lower my ISO so you can see everything. I don't know what it's gonna look like on YouTube, so please forgive me if it's really crushed or whatever. I'll leave it like that. I don't really know what it's gonna look like. But so far out of the gate, the picture quality is absolutely incredible. I will say that right now. It is beautiful. This demo is showing a lot of particles and colors and separations. What I look for specifically is separation in color hues, color tonalities, and I can see every little particle inside of that little color scheme thing there. And this thing is incredibly bright. So I can tell you right now from experience, years of experience doing this, they definitely are living up to their brightness claim so far, because I'm in a mostly dark room right now and it's just super bright, right? But it's not bad though. It's not like an uncomfortable, oh my God, I can't do anything. Now on the side of the TV on the advertisement, you'll see native 120 Hertz. A lot of people were afraid that just meant that you were only going to have a native 120 Hertz panel, but no, you actually do have the 120 Hertz in regards to gaming as well with the 120 Hertz features, and you see FreeSync advertised and Imax enhanced and all that stuff, so no need to worry there. But so far, it looks really, really pretty, very, very scenic. I like it a lot. I think the demo is pretty well done, I will say. Even as the demo gets from a larger window to a smaller window, I'm noticing dimming happen, and that's really, really good. And even as we were on that Hisense logo on the way out, zero blooming, zero black level issues, it was just clean. Now this particular example image, or whatever this is way overexposed along with the general picture. There's over sharpening, so there's definitely some work to do there, and I'll obviously have to do that work. But yeah, so far, so good out of the gate. Once you wait long enough, this enhanced viewing option will pop up if you are on Wi-Fi. Having reviewed Hisense before, I know that this is the case, so I'm just going to agree to the adaptive picture stuff, and yes, to enhanced viewing. This is, I believe, how you get that extra AI option or something like that. I have to find it again. Enhanced viewing right there. So some of you under the advanced menu may not have that if you don't go on Wi-Fi and you don't do that already. So that's how you get the enhanced viewing. Now, enhanced picture, enhanced sound, all that stuff, that's, again, picture auto adaptation and stuff like that. That's how you get those AI features. So yeah, very useful thing to know. Not everybody's gonna know that, but you got me, so I got your back. Now we're at the part of the review where we're gonna go over the picture settings. Out of the box, the picture isn't the best I've ever seen. It definitely needs some work. It's overly cool is the word I would use to describe it. But the black levels, even though I saw some hot spotting on the boot up menu, is non-existent here. As you see, black levels are really deep, very inky. I see particle effects that normally would trip up a lot of TVs here, and it's still looking really uniform with very, very minimal blooming at all. And that's something that really impresses me out the gate. So I do see maybe some hot spotting on this particular image, or maybe it's just the image that I'm looking at. I don't really know. I haven't really driven this thing hard yet. And if I know Hisense, they have local dimming set to medium, not even the maximum anyway. So, I mean, really, it is what it is. But let's go into our picture options and talk about what they've offered us this year. Okay, so the first thing I did, the only thing I did was change it to the enhanced format, so we obviously get more than just HDMI 2.0, because I'm on the HDMI 2.1 port and, you know, better bandwidth, better color, you know, so on and so forth. Okay, so then I go into the picture mode options, and it's as follows. As under the backlight, as I said, local dimming is set to medium. We're gonna go ahead and change that now. We're gonna set that to high, just so we have that for the rest of the video. And already it's way darker doing that. Like the black on her jacket just got so much deeper. And I'm noticing just in general, it's buttoned up better. So that's definitely one of the things that helped. Now I noticed by default they have light sensor ticked. For this video, I don't really see the point in unticking it, but obviously if I do that, it's going to get substantially brighter. But you know, I don't really need that right now because I'm not tuning it up and calibrating it and all that stuff. So it definitely gets hella brighter once you do that. Let's look at all the modes it has. You have Vivid, Standard, Energy Saving, Game Mode, Sports Mode, which by the way, Sports Mode is like a dying breed. This is one of the only brands on the market right now offering a Sports Mode. Very good to see because there are so many people that want a dedicated Sports Mode but don't want to sacrifice their regular mode, and this makes it easier to calibrate and adjust and get the exact kind of mode that you're looking for. Now there's a theater day and a theater night mode already built in. None of that crap what's like what Sony does where they hide it behind after you do a calibration, then the modes unlock. Hisense gives it to you right out of the gate. I really like seeing that because that means that again, you can just calibrate and do what you've got to do and have your calibrated modes and then your preferred user modes if you choose. This is brilliant stuff, absolutely like it. Of course, there's an automated mode where if you don't really have very much experience and you just kind of want to do auto, use that. But to be honest with you, from what I've seen, the auto mode isn't that great and you would benefit from learning a little bit more about what your TV can do to get the most out of it. Now there's a filmmaker mode and that pretty much sums up everything. So then we have contrast, which works the same as it did in many years prior. You go from 50 all the way up to 100. You've got brightness, you've got color, you've got tint, you've got sharpness. Wide picture mode is grayed out right now. Not sure why that is. I don't know, maybe it's the way I have my sources hooked up. It's something to explore. Maybe it only activates when you're actually watching like physical movie content, don't know. But you do have an apply to all sources setting. So again, very nice to see that, again, they're giving you a lot for the dollar amount. These are features reserved for like higher end brands, you know, like an apply to all sources. So Hisense definitely has more than crossed that threshold and become that higher end brand for sure from what I'm seeing here. I mean, let's just talk about what we've seen so far. We've seen so many different options in the TV that honestly are great, but then we've also seen with the unboxing process just how clean everything really was. It's a really strong offering right now. One of the things I am very disappointed about though, and I must say, there is no Imax Enhanced Picture preset mode. So that's probably like only gonna be the Imax Enhanced for audio. So that part of it, I'm pretty bummed because Imax Enhanced as a feature, a preset mode is killer, and Sony does have that this year. But also, you will pay a whole lot more for it, and you will get what I would imagine would be substantially worse motion if it's anything like what I remember from Sony, at least comparing to Hisense. But we'll get into that, trust me, we will. But I am let down that there is no Imax Enhanced Picture preset, but it's a minor setback because at least we do have sports and theater day and theater night already out the gate, which is something that Sony doesn't have. So you got to take your victories, right? And then we go into our advanced settings here. We have overscan, that's grayed out right now. We have color temperature, it's on medium right now. We have motion enhancement, that's grayed out. We have motion clearness, which is BFI. We have noise reduction, digital. We have the HDMI range. We have active contrast. You can change that however you need to. We have filmmaker mode detection. You can turn that off or you can turn that on. We have native and auto for the color space. So unfortunately, no dedicated color spaces like the DCI-P3, Rec 709, Adobe RGB. Like, you're not getting those. You're getting a general color space. It is what it is. I'm not happy about it. I wish there would have been something more dedicated, but maybe something to improve on maybe in the future. Then you have instant game response mode on auto. We're gonna go ahead and turn that off right now. And as you guys see, all of our kind of settings open up. So if you thought that the reason why the settings were grayed out is maybe because it's something to do with the way I have it hooked up here, it's just because it snapped into game mode. I'm feeding this through a PlayStation 4 Pro. So I know on LG OLEDs, all your options are just grayed out when you use PlayStation. There's really no real workaround around that, at least as far as your picture enhancements. And that's even after you turn off game mode, go into other modes. Hisense isn't doing that trash this year. You're totally fine with Hisense, as you see here. Now let's go over our color temperature options. We have low, mid-low, and medium, and then high. Then we go over our motion. We have off, custom, film, clear, standard, and smooth. I love smooth, so I'm just gonna tick that right now. But again, you're seeing you're getting more for the money with Hisense than even other brands, naming Sony right now, because they're the ones that have walked back on offering presets, and I'm pretty sour about it. But either way, you guys see what you have there. And then for the motion, the noise reduction, you have all the way to high. So it's from off all the way to high. It's user's choice. Same thing for the digital noise reduction. Then we go into the dynamic range options where you have full, limited, and auto. Then we've already went over that. Color space, instant game response, and then you can tick FreeSync on or off. Just bump the camera there. Okay, FreeSync on or off. When you turn on FreeSync, it got really bright. I don't know what just happened, but that's like torch mode right now. That's gonna be fun to play with. I can't wait to see why that happened. But oh my God, it just got so much brighter. That was really cool to see. It's the total reverse of what we saw with LG, where when you turn on their VRR capabilities on the C1, it just got totally dim out of nowhere. So that's a really good thing to see. Now, calibration settings. Yes, you have the gamma calibration back. Very good to have that, a useful calibration tool indeed. And then your color tuner, let's see what they have. I hope they kept the flesh tuner. Yes, and they kept the flesh tone. Let me just throw this out there right now. If you've never used this feature, use it. It is fantastic. Hisense right now is the only brand still offering a flesh tone option in 2021. Everyone ripped that out. It used to come on older TVs like from 2014, 2013, 2012, things like that, and they ripped that stuff out. I'm so glad to see a brand actually understanding we need calibration of our flesh tones. Very good stuff there. All right then. We have obviously the other core colors, magenta, cyan, yellow, blue, green, and red. And then you have it work like an HSL, so hue, saturation, and luminance. But the brightness is what Hisense calls it. Don't be thrown off by that. If you've ever color graded, video graded, or even dabbled in basic photography and ran into an HSL slider or tool, that's what this is, and it allows you to get near perfect color. And I only expect the best when using this feature with Hisense, like the H9F, like the H9G. Very excited to get in and just get my mojo going. Okay, and you have BT1886 HLG when it's turned on, and then you have 2.4, 2.2, and 2.0 for your gamma points. So again, very, very cool stuff. Now I'll just go ahead and snap it into BT1886 because I know that's SDR's gamma, but again, you have options here, and I'm liking that I'm seeing those options. Now, you can also go into Smart Scene and enable Smart Scene, and it'll do everything for you. We'll toggle that to see what it does. I don't really notice much of a difference, so I'll just turn it off. I imagine it adjusts sharpness for you because I noticed that grayed out immediately when I turn that on, so I imagine that's something that it will do for you. But essentially, yeah, the picture options are pretty robust. You've got a good amount of options there. One thing I am noticing, I don't know if it's maybe me missing it or something, but it doesn't seem like you can force HDR, so you can't be too creative with the kind of calibrations you're able to put out. So maybe something for the future they can work on to allow you to be able to force the HDR. That'd be nice, because I love using HLG specifically and being able to make custom HDR type effect settings, but again, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I mean a lot of fun getting the ground running on the ground with this But I'm gonna turn off the light sensor now so you guys can see how the image is out of the box, more or less, despite the few changes that I did make. Okay, so let's go back here, and right now it is a freaking torch, dude. Zero banding, blooming, anything right now as I'm seeing. Her face looks incredible. Really bright on my field monitor here. I'm gonna turn it down, hopefully that helps. This is an incredibly bright TV, and I'm not seeing any weak points in the image quality right now as far as black levels, and believe me, I'm looking like a hawk right now to try to see any little hiccup, any little issue, and honestly, I can't find a thing. It is a very clean, beautiful looking display. Try to straighten it out a little bit for you guys. Even on this, I don't see any blooming. Like, this is incredible. Zero blooming, so already very impressed with what Hisense is doing out of the gate. I mean, the water droplets, because they're spaced out, usually would see a ton of blooming. There isn't a ton of blooming. There is a little at the bottom, but it's so very, very, very faint. You'd be an ultra nitpicker to notice that. And that's really incredible considering this comes straight from their OLED demo, and this stuff is designed to trip up TVs. The H9, or rather the U8G, isn't getting tripped up here. And at any point, if I called this the H9G, I am so used to the H9G, so you're gonna have to forgive that if I do that. But either way, yeah, it's looking fantastic. I love what I'm seeing right now. But that's pretty much it for the unboxing. I wanna thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Keep it locked for more awesome Hisense UHG content, because we are going to be hitting the ground running. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later.